Okay, good evening and welcome everyone to the Irie Myrie and Friends show. I am your host, Colin Myrie, and my co-host this evening is Ralston Chamberlain. On February 26th, the people of Jamaica went to the polls in the local government election. At the end of the day, the results showed the JLP winning 7 clear municipalities and the PNP 5 clear municipalities. The PNP has won the mayoral race and the KSAMC is tied. There is much confusion as to who the real winner is. Ralston?
And so, also taking place this week, we have Dennis Meadows being removed as the PNP standard bearer for Northern Trelawney, and Mr. Warmington has been removed from the cabinet as a cabinet minister from Mr. Holness' cabinet. This afternoon, we're going to dissect and look at the local government elections. And we're also going to look at the issues regarding these two gentlemen being removed from prominent positions. And so, for this discussion this afternoon, we're joined by Kamala Forbes. She is a noted blogger and supporter of the People's National Party. We're also joined by one of our regular panelists, Mr. Anthony Fisher, and we're also joined by another regular panelist, Vernon Darby. And Vernon Darby is a noted broadcaster, radio talk show host, a teacher by profession, and has his own show online.
And a blogger.
And a blogger. Lady, gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
Yes,
good.
Great to be here.
Good afternoon.
All right, there's much been bantered about the result. But before we get into the intricacies of it and who won and what is causing this problem, let me ask you first offhand, and I'm going to start with Vernon. Just give me your impression of the results thus far. Not of who win, but of the results thus far, as you see it.
Well, I will tell you, for the first time, Jamaica has won.
Mm-hmm.
Jamaica has won because for the first time in a very long time, we've seen JLP and PNP behaving like human beings. They love one another. A lady lost her leg in St. Thomas. PNP people assisted her. We see people hugging up. Of course, people cheer one another when, for example, Mrs. Holness went downtown, they make up them noise and so that's expected. But I must say, for the first time, I think the Jamaican people have lost. What we have won. When you look at, for example, the KSAC, they have a tie that is sending a very strong message to our political parties. So as far as I'm concerned, they can argue who win and who lose overall because the idea of the political parties, they're looking forward to general elections. That's their objective. But the people of this country, they want water, they want light, they want illegal buildings to be knocked down, they want the roads to be fixed. These are local government things. So whether JP win overall or PNP win overall, it is neither here nor there to the people of this country.
Let me interrogate something that you said before I go to the others, Vernon. You said a strong message has been sent. What really is that message that you think the people are sending to both political parties?
That is satisfied with how local governments are functioning right now. We have a case, for example, at Charlemont Avenue. I'm just mentioning that as an example, where the head of a government entity was involved in putting up a building. It was discovered that the building was illegal. Well, I know all along, and I can tell you, I'm pretty much in touch with what is happening right across the country. There are many heads of government institutions who are busy looking after their own business, doing their doctorates and paying little or no attention. And what the people do is end up blaming the politicians. No, politicians must be blamed. But let me tell you something. If politicians are all lazy and the system works, the people will be happy. So the local government elections have, the entities have not worked. Streets are nasty. People are selling all over the place. Remember the crab affair, I call it, is a crab mentality. And when I talk it, I don't mince words, And then the KSAC will jump on it. Well, that's not the point. The fact is, it was there in the first place. What did you do about it? So local government, I just got another video of a gentleman who's doing something just as nasty, who's selling food. So garbage, Mark must admit the garbage collection has improved, but these things must be taken back to local government, the fixing of the parochial roads, the drains in diverse communities. Everything is centralized in Kingston, and Kingston is now our colonial masters. Can't work.
All right. Anthony, your impression of the results?
I agree with Vernon in most parts. Where I disagree is that when an election is decided by less than 30% of the population, I think that is very, very, very disappointed. When I look at the crowds that was following both parties during the campaign period, I was hoping that we might have gotten at least 40% of the persons voting. That was not the case. It was 29%, and that for me is disappointed because again, I would use something that somebody else say, that both political parties now are fighting for the bottom of the barrel, and that is the dieted and stuff, and that is where I am disappointed overall. In terms of everything else, like I love the footages that I was seeing on social media where persons can be voting for different party but showing each other love and stuff. I think those were big wins for me. And yeah, but I don't know. I am wondering what needs to be done to bring back or attract those persons who have decided now that they are not going to participate in the political process.
All right, and Kamla?
Well, I agree with some of what Vernon said and some of what Anthony says. Not everything, though. I agree with Vernon in terms of Jamaica won, but I also agree with Anthony that the voter turnout is very worrying. No, maybe because I worked in the election in terms of on the ground, I would have seen some of the nastier parts of the campaign. So I wouldn't come on here and say that everything was hunky-dory and the picture that was painted in the public is not necessarily what happened on the ground in a lot of instances. We saw houses being burnt down. We saw big buildings being ransacked. We saw people being stoned by their opponents. So we would probably have to differ on that part, that the campaign was relatively peaceful, because those of us who were on the ground know otherwise. But in terms of the message that it sent, is that the PNP is competitive again. That's the main message, you know. I know that a lot of people underestimated the PNP being led by Mark Golding. They thought that they underestimated, when we said that we were united, they didn't believe, you understand? But at the end of the day, whatever it is, I don't know what kind of magic potion him cast on the party, but I've seen a lot of kumbaya moments during this election campaign. I mean, comrades who were bitter enemies within the party. I mean, so that was good, you know, but the reason why I agree with Vernon that Jamaica won is that the people of Jamaica have an option now. We have a viable opposition, and that is what makes the country win. But in terms of the voter turnout now, I think that, and you know, it's so funny. I heard several laborites, Juliet Cuthbert Flynn and Marlene Malahoo Fort, and what's his name, Creary, who is the outgoing mayor of St. Mary. I heard them complaining about the low voter turnout and how everybody wants money to go and vote. And I found that so hilarious. I won't say why I found it hilarious, but I found it hilarious. The bottom line is our society, half is tapped out in terms of not interested in the electoral process at all for one reason another. I think the biggest reason is because we discontinued civics in school. And then the other part sees it as transactional. So if they don't get paid, they won't go out and vote. And so we have a lot of fixing to do. This entire thing with this entire election and this entire thing with who won, this debate with who won and who lost, and basically brought me to the realization that 90% of our population, educated or otherwise, don't understand how government works. Most of the people, for instance, at my office, thought that this election would mean that Andrew Holness wouldn't be the prime minister anymore. I'm talking about educated people here, because they don't understand the different arms of government. They don't understand the governance structure at all here. So we have a lot of work to do as a society to get people engaged, because it's not just about the bread and butter issues, right? Yes, we want road, we want water, but Jamaicans tend to mix up everything. They don't know how to distinguish what is local and what is general. You understand? That's why we saw this whole thing during the campaign where people were conflating the issues. People didn't understand. And I heard a lot of people in the media complaining about it. But at the end of the day, people business with them bottom line, and they don't care which arm of the government is responsible for what. You understand? So we have a lot of education. It opened my eyes that, listen, our society on a whole don't know anything about governance at all. So we have to start the process to educate them so that they understand the importance of their vote. And basically, that's what I have been very vocal about. I don't really care which side you want to vote for, as long as you exercise your franchise to vote. So yeah, that's it.
All right. There's a lot that has been said, but
Constant, if I have your permission,
sure.
I would love to ask Kamala a question, because she touched on a point that I'd want to have a question. Kamala, I totally agree with you in terms of education, political education. But if I may, and this is another disappointing thing coming out of the elections for me, because I think that this election could use as a yardstick for both political parties to determine where they are right now, because we haven't had an election for the longest while. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I was disappointed, and I think up to Friday, I saw something from the GenSec of the PNP saying that they won the election. And I'm saying that is bad for the youngster who are in school now.
One second, Colin. I don't want you to go to the confusion of the results. Because we're going there.
I'm just talking about it.
We're gonna interrogate that because that needs interrogating. We're gonna interrogate that. But I want
Could I respond?
No.
Hold on, Vernon. Let me tell you what my question is going to be to you, Vernon. My question is, because we have been talking about this whole issue of educating the populace and letting the people know what is happening. But it seems that it's not happening, because more and more we're seeing a lower and lower voter turnout. So
all right, let me answer you.
We need to do
Let me answer you. The uneducated ones are probably those of us who are on this panel and those who go to university and so on. The first thing is that we assume that education means learning maths, physics, and chemistry. I have two brothers who have absolutely no academic qualifications, but I will tell you, they are far more educated probably than any one of us on this panel right now. Tuan is married to someone who has a doctorate. That's the first failure. Persons not voting. Actually, none of you have disagreed with me so far. The violence has been reduced. That's what there is. It is. The whole idea, I missed what I was going to say. It's a matter of age. This is probably affecting the political process. Oh, come on, it just slipped me. You mentioned something which I was making notes, voter turnout. Of course, people voted. They didn't vote because as educated people, you expect people to go out there and put their X beside the bell or the head. They didn't go out, they did vote. In my system, if you had jackass A and jackass B, then if you go and vote for one of the jackasses, then you make yourself a third jackass. Anytime you have a system where you have jackass A, jackass B, and none of the above, then you can talk about apathy. You can't at this point in time. Why should you force me to have two jackasses and I must vote for one? That's a argument in donkeyism. I'm just being terrible now. Any day you give me the option to vote for jackass A, jackass B, or none of the above, and if none of the above wins, then it means therefore you have to have new elections and those old candidates have to come out of the system.
So is it then, Vernon, are you saying, if I understand you clearly, that the people who are not voting, they have no
voted.
option? They have no option.
Yes, they have. And they have voted. By not going out, they have voted.
Okay. All right. I'm going to let Colin come in because I know Anthony is rearing to talk about the confusion in who win, who didn't win.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to go back to Mr. Vernon Darby since, you have been in the media for a long time. What really is the root of the confusion as to the winner?
No, I know you're going to put me to trouble. No, I know you're going to. And I'm going to tell all of you that the gentleman you're talking to saw the confusion coming. I sent a email to the chairman, who is my schoolmate. I tried to contact the head of the elector, what do you call him now, the head of the EOJ. They didn't respond. I spoke to the PR. I told him about communication and the importance of communication. I have, for the first time in Jamaica, I've set up an emergency alert system. I offered them to use it so that he could communicate directly with every news media and media personalities so they can know what is happening. They just abandoned it, and I told them, you ain't seen nothing yet. And I will tell you, I think exactly what I expected to happen happened. So there's poor communication. The head of the electoral office is a poor communicator. The public relations person is ineffective, and therefore the PNP and the JLP have their one agenda. What you expect? Me a politician, I'm going to say me way, nothing wrong with that. But the fact is, where are those who are supposed to have the authority? For example, I tell you that the EOJ don't have it right as yet. The EOJ should not be coming out and I see them asking questions and turn analysts. That's not your job. You're not an analyst. Your job is to report what is happening, right? Your job is not to say whether PNP or JLP win. The Constitution does not recognize a political party. All you can say is that in this, these municipalities, not parishes, in this municipality, person supporting this party got the majority. Listen, the whole of we want to go back to school. All of them masters and doctorate. We are a country of dunce people, including myself.
Amen.
I'm being horrible now. Lord have mercy.
Amen.
I think
my turn.
Anthony, you wanted to weigh in on this. This is your.
Thank you, Ralston. So as I was alluding to earlier, is that I was disappointed because we have children looking on. I mean, I have a 16-year-old, and she was bitter because we talk politics, and I tell her how a local government is different from a general or national elections and stuff. So she would understand that, okay, it is how many municipality that is won by a particular party would be considered a win. All right. Just like when it was Al Gore and Bush Stewart here in the US, where Gore got the popular votes, but the US is run by electoral colleges. And so it's whoever wins most of the electoral colleges won the election. Yeah, you understand what I'm saying? So if we are going to say, okay, the JLP won in X amount of parishes and the PNP won in X amount of parishes, and Kingston and St. Andrew was draw, and the mirror election in Portmore was won by the PNP, then we have to look at it at that. It cannot be two-way and whatever and all those things. And I'm saying that the persons who have the responsibility to make that clear should do so and stuff. This is not I think there are times when we need to allow, and I'm going to say, Jamaica to win. If I was, as I told my daughter this, because I tried to break it down to her, I said, if we should look at the raw politics, we could easily say that the PNP has won because they would have won more divisions. They have the popular votes, but that's just not how the local government is decided. And that is what is disappointed to me. In terms of the both parties, the PNP came out way better than the JLP.
Why would they say that?
No question there.
Why would they say that? The PNP, the JLP lost like about 17 divisions. Why would you say that? I'm just asking.
No, I'm saying that the PNP came out way better than the JLP.
Oh,
the PNP going to the election with 98 divisions. The last time I checked, I think the PNP came out with like 116 thereabout.
115, 115.
Yes,
Right,
115.
Right, 115. So that's a big improvement.
Could I interrupt you, gentlemen? You're going back into the same gully. Whoever win and whoever lose, we want to hear what about do for Jamaica. We want them now fix the nastiness and go on same way. That is what I want. You want to spend the whole time arguing about which win and who lose?
I would love I'd love to interject here. All right, the question of who wins and who has won and who has lost became confusing when I lay the blame squarely at the feet of the EOJ.
Exactly.
Because they were reporting parishes when the 2016 amendment to the Local Government Act
municipality
no longer looks at a parish council. There are no longer parish councils. We don't speak about parishes when we speak about the local government election anymore. We speak about municipalities. And in that same amendment, Portmore as a city municipality was also recognized as a municipal authority. So this is PEP now. And I had a child who did PEP recently, and this is a PEP question. Jamaica has 14 municipal authorities, 13 of which are municipal corporations, and 1 is a municipality. And if you go on the Ministry of Local Government's website, it will tell you that Jamaica has 14 municipal authorities. So EOJ initially caused the confusion by reporting parishes. We no longer have parish councils. We now have municipal authorities. So if it's a situation where Jamaica has 14 municipal authorities, it means that if the JLP has won 7 outright, the PNP would have won 1 tie. We know that Kingston and St. Andrew municipal corporation, there was a draw 2020. But then what about the other 6? Because Portmore is a municipality, but it is its own municipal authority. And if you go on the website, it says that. But let me tell you where the confusion lies with Andrew Holness and the JLP. If you recall, they pushed this amendment through very, very quickly, much to the PNP's dismay. There was a big argument about that amendment, right? I remember it clearly because what the JLP was trying to do was separate the Portmore municipality from St. Catherine because the JLP is stronger in St. Catherine. They were trying to do this before they were trying to call, and 2016 is the last local government election, and they were trying to do this before that local government election to ensure that they could hold on to St. Catherine. What they did not do, them forget, say, you have to twist the law to take out the parish part of it too. So what this is how the confusion creating, because they made Portmore an independent municipal authority without removing it from the parish of St. Catherine. So that's why
correction there. Portmore became a municipality
in
under the
2003, but it wasn't a
Right.
municipal authority.
Okay,
It wasn't
fine.
its own authority. It was the city municipality was basically crafted in 2003.
Right. No, I follow,
and the
I follow.
first mayor was Mayor George Lee.
Right. And I
Right?
must tell I work closely with him in terms of helping to push for that.
Okay. However, what the JLP did with the amendment in 2016, when they were trying to separate it, is that they made it a standalone authority. When everything, because remember KSAC, it was KSAC, then it became KSAMC, and then everything now stopped being parish council, and they spent this whole heap of money changing everything to municipal corporations. And they made Portmore a standalone municipal authority. So this is what has come back to haunt them.
But Kamala,
Because
could I help you,
Sure.
Mr. Chair?
Mhm.
The problem is all the political parties, barring none, they have a way of introducing legislation without having a period of discussion. Is that
Exactly.
a JLP or PAP is a general thing. And the next
Exactly.
thing, the concept of having a mayor directly elected. If you ask me, I know I'm no lawyer. Why don't somebody challenge it? Why give some people certain rights in an area and don't give the other? If one set of people can vote for mayor,
But
all the
they're
whole
saying they
country
want
should be able
others to join that. And I think
that
it's I actually like the concept of
No, but it's not matter who want it. The matter it is an anomaly. You cannot have one that people have more rights than the other. It is wrong. And I'm saying to you, it's not a JLP versus PMP. It's a so-called educated class who are really uneducated. Now, so far, you are very logical. When I listen to people in the media, when one idiot, I'm going to get myself into trouble, went and said which party won or not, I said to myself, what an idiot. So what I
You're
did...
saying that about your former boss?
Hello, when I talk, I couldn't care less when I talk. That's why I know it's fine life. I don't care less. And I just call it a spade a spade. You will learn that I vote for a political party, but when I speak, I blast anybody. I couldn't care less. I vote for what is right and what is wrong. So guess what? You know what I did immediately? I realized from day one, and that's why for what I probably getting arrogant myself. I realized we're going wrong. Remember I told you, I spoke to the chairman, who's my schoolmate. I spoke to the head. I tell them that the communication is bad. I went through all of that. They never listen. So with that communication,
they rarely do. They rarely do. But the
Exactly.
bottom line is, the point I was trying to finish is that we have a situation now where it appears as though our own people who we have elected don't even understand the situation that they have created. I think they probably realize it a little later. No, this is why they need to make Portmore a standalone parish, because at the end of the day, they realize the fallout, because the situation that they tried to create, they basically made it worse for themselves.
I have to interject something. When I realized, yes, former boss was the boss of my thinking, I must tell you. I had my own thinking when I was there. What I did was I put together, and probably that's why I'm no longer there, because I'm not part of the crowd. I put together the figures and I set it out in my blog. Mary, you might have seen it, to identify what the counts were. So persons who saw it would have realized that the whole thing of saying which party we at that time was stupid. And it happened because
it's not the EOJ's mandate to determine who won either.
No, I know, but I'm saying what the EOJ should have done, the whole idea of selling data is wrong. And when you sell data to a station, you are obligated to that station. I asked them before the election to make the data available to everybody. They should have a site. Let me this. I don't want to take up the time now. Even the voter query system, I spoke to them about it. Those who read my blog will see it. I designed something. You cannot have a date field with all the data in one area. It is bad. So poor my grandmother, who's not alive, when she put in there, she can put in 24. No slash dot. People don't understand it. You must put in the year separate from the date. And I will tell you, those who go to university and study IT, I will tell you them are pack and dunce, because you can't put up a site like that. So I had to be helping people how to put in the information. God bless those who follow my blog. So let me tell you, talk about journalists have information about that. No, trust me, them proof say all we need a dunce bag.
But the thing about it though,
one second, come I just want to recognize that Dr. Mario Wood is here. And I wanted to get his take on the results as seen so far, not on the confusion as to who win or who lost, but on the results so far and his takeaway.
My takeaway, Roslan. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Clear message sent to both political parties. A very, very clear message. And I'll tell you what I think the message is. Guys, you have to do better. Democracy is under threat in Jamaica, not because of a particular political group or party or whatever, but when you have an important element of government, such as local government, with 30% of the voters part in an election like that, something is wrong. And I didn't know what was wrong until I went to Hanover yesterday. And in Hanover yesterday, I spoke to a young lady. And you know what she said to me? I can't use the exact words. I will just narrow it down to hell. She said to me, what the hell am I voting for? I don't have road. I don't have water. Every day, I don't have electricity for about 4 hours. I cannot, if I need to go to the hospital, I have to charter a car and nobody on these roads. And when I saw the roads yesterday up there, I said to myself, these people are totally neglected. And this area that I went to, Cascade, Hanover, is not the only neglected place in Jamaica. We do need a government, and I am advocating that at the time. We do need to remove that financial power from central government that does not seem to be reaching those people in Cascade, Hanover. Because they're saying that the reason why they do not get from central government because traditionally they vote PNP. But when you put the money in the hands of a member of parliament, putting the money, the financial power into those who are paid to deliver to people, which is a civil servants or whatever body they are. These are the paid people, not members. I mean, I'm getting sick and tired of seeing members of parliament out there supervising road work. That's not their darn job. Their job is their job is to go out there and legislate policy, not fixing roads, fixing or figuring out who dead, how much money me forgive that person for go dead. That's why you have a poor relief department. That's why you have a Ministry of Labor and Social Security. That's their responsibility, not to give out, to provide handouts or houses, photo opportunities.
Mr. Chair.
What we need again, a very strong
Mr. Chair,
local government.
he's making some incorrect statements there. I think you should correct him.
I wonder which incorrect statement am I making, sir?
Yeah, politicians do not supervise work. That is not correct. When they go there, they go there.
Garbage man. When they
hold on.
No. When they are out there with the deepest respect, right? When they are out there with their photo opportunities, supervising road work, and don't tell me you do not see it.
Let me finish.
I think that's what Vernon Darby was.
Let me finish that. Let me finish, sir.
Actually, out there supervising is a photo opportunity.
Let me. That's exactly what I was going to say. I will tell you, sir. Be very nice and be very courteous on this panel. Don't do that. All right.
You just call people them doctorate a set of idiots.
Well, they are, and I hope you don't prove that. No, so please don't go down that road. All right. Politicians.
Gentlemen, I came here not to be abused.
All right, let's.
We're back to square one now. We get you. I'm not sensitive, so it's all right. I only talk. I know I don't get hurt and Vix and come off. So I just tell you. Anyway,
don't do that.
1 second.
It's all right. Well, let me just continue. I don't get personal. I know I hear, and I tell you, I won't get vexed on it. No, I'm not like that. I'm just blunt, no. And whoever can't get mashed, tough luck for you. Politicians will, anywhere in the world, use the opportunity for photo shoot. Where the problem lies is that the public servants, and I said before, are not performing. I mentioned one public servant who was busy doing his doctorate, busy running his own business and breaking the law. The public servants are not working. Politicians do not get money to spend. Politicians cannot put money in their pocket. If they do, it is public servants who give it to them. And we are setting a wrong narrative and causing people now to hate the political process. What we must do direct the problem with is that the Electoral Commission, they fell down, not the JLP or PNP. I expect the JLP to argue about who win and who lose. The Electoral Office is the one that has fell down. So let me say it again. If I am an MP, I am going to go and parade and show up myself and take picture too. I want to win the next election.
Mr. David, that's your right name, right? Good. I've never seen my senator nor my congressman nor my city commissioner out there supervising work.
This is Jamaica, not the United States.
But that's different
No,
though,
but
Mario.
you're telling me that politician, you said politicians all over.
I have seen it in America, sir.
No.
Yes, I've seen
Where?
Trump go to the border. Yes, to show his stand at the border. So politicians everywhere will function like politicians.
Just to let you know, Trump
Yeah.
is a totally different kettle of fish, so we won't go down that
It
road,
doesn't
all
matter.
right?
You just ask me an
Totally.
example and I can give you more.
Gentlemen,
Yes.
if I may, just a second here. So, Mario touched on some very good point, and Mario, I must tell you that the part of Hanover that you mentioned, Cascade, is somewhere that I am pretty familiar with, and you could go further down to Patty Hill, Hillsbrook, and Woodsville. So I know that entire area, and I know the roads that are there. And gentle people, I have to be honest, and let me tell you, I for most part, I support the Jamaica Labour Party under Andrew Holness. Let me declare that up front. However, I can tell you this, that some of these MPs, Member of Parliament, councillors, they are hanging on to the Prime Minister's shirt tail and not doing any work whatsoever. That place that Mario spoke about, there was a bridge that was broken down, and I know the people cry out, and until this day it has not been fixed. And then you are going to ask those same people to come and vote for you when local government election comes? No, they should be run away.
So, Chairman, can I interject here, sir?
Yes.
The people are also to be blamed. For years, Jamaica has been run by politicians who have no respect for our economy or how the country is run. And the people sit down and allow it. Therefore, the coffers ran dry. A dry coffer can't even coffin. Probably that's what it was, coffin. Cannot build roads. Now, I must tell you, at the last few years of the PNP and the JLP now, all of a sudden we realize the importance of the economy. But the people must be blamed. The people sat down. Don't forget about Fizak and all them stuff. You cannot sit down and allow our leaders to wreck the economy and then you say one road fix. And if we had political education and if we were teaching civics and those in the school, let's introduce it. That's one correction I have to make, but not in all schools. The people would not allow. So the people are not innocent. You can't put up people and you start to blame them when you yourself sat down and allow your economy to be wrecked, to be under IMF. You know what IMF stands for? It's my fault, not Michael's fault or Siaga's fault. It's my fault. It's the people of this country who sat down. Because if Michael did something wrong, I will tell you when I send a strong letter to the Prime Minister. I just sent one day before yesterday. In vex out there, but I don't care. People need to send message to their political leaders that slow and chat show and slow and complain about politicians. Politicians must do that. What the hell are we doing?
Well, them send a message like on 26. I hope both sides hear the message.
And what the people
Right.
do,
Let me bring in Mark Cameron. Just join us, and I want to hear his take in a minute. The results, your impression of the results in a minute.
Impression of result is it shows that the people with there's not a lot of enthusiasm for the PNP government as well, because I thought it would have been overwhelming, but it has been lackluster I mean, if you want to call it that. It also shows that there needs to be a new way to get the people engaged in the political process. And one of the things that I have done with other stakeholders in my similar position is to come up with a new way of governance. And we have started an alliance up Jamaica. You might have seen it in the paper recently, up Jamaica, the NDM, the Marcus Garvey political party, and Tanco, who we have come up with a constitutional reform that I've actually made a presentation about before. And you're not going to have proper representation without consequences for bad behavior. The gentleman just spoke about the people are at fault. Well, when you have the press complicit with government, I'm talking about mass media, they've been bought. They do not ask the relevant questions that are necessary on behalf of the Jamaican people. They work with the government, and we don't really have any say-so in what goes on in our name. Now, we believe that the DPP must be elected by the people. You can't have the DPP and the Prime Minister like brethren. You know, that should not be their role. And what was talked about earlier about the roads.
Oh, by the way, let me correct you again.
The gentleman
You can't do that, Mr. Chair. We have to be very careful. I don't want to be a part. You said the DPP and the Prime Minister as brethren. We have no proof, and I will tell you, I have no proof whatsoever that the DPP is brethren with the Prime Minister. We must be honest. We can't come on this thing and say that they are brethren. I know the DPP is a woman who deals with the law. We must be very careful.
Okay, so
and if I'm going to be hit, yes.
Just to prevent persons like me from saying such things as that, let it be a democratic process where the people, you have to remove any residue of doubt that one may have, because we have seen the nepotism that goes on in our country, and you cannot deny that. Now, there's things that I've seen that that he's done with the DPP that is, to be quite frank, unusual.
Tell me what.
No,
just a second, Mark. Hold on, just a second, Mark. Hold on. 1 second. Hold on. 1 second. 1 second. Let us be clear. You and I and all of us on this panel will agree there is nepotism all around in government and in every organization in Jamaica. But unless we have
proof.
Okay. I do not think, 1 second, I do not think we should go down that road of casting aspersion on anybody's character, not on the program. We can talk about what needs to be done. We can talk about the recommendations that you're putting forward in terms of the DPP being elected so as to remove any form of
perception.
Or perception,
yeah,
right? But let us not go down a road where
I got that. No, okay, I got that. I got that.
And I start to say those kind of things. Yes.
Okay, so I will retract that. His behavior with the DPP appears that they're close, because he's done some unprecedented things that has never been done before in the history of our government, as it relates to the DPP.
No, but 1 second, Mark. If 1 second, if these are unprecedented things that are not grounded in law, we have an opposition that can challenge these things. We have civil society groups that can challenge these things in the courts. So I'm not sure.
Can I?
Road you're going down with that line of argument.
Okay, okay, that's true. I'm getting to this now. He supports Andrew Holness. Last week or a week before, we spoke about the raise of pay that they give themselves, right? He just said a while ago that these councillors are not doing their job, their work. And that's why the roads are in such a bad state. Now, as a person who believes in fiscal responsibility, all right, I would never give anybody a raise unless they have proven themselves to be worthy of such. The government has given the parish councillors a raise from 2-point-something million to 6 million, all right? And the MPs are now to 20 and 30 million. Now, we in Jamaica have more representation than what needs to be done in our communities. We're not getting value for our money. And because we're not getting value for our money, I cannot understand why the gentleman from who professed to be a GLP supporter would sit on this program after such a short period of time telling me that the money is worth it, when we know that the parish council job is a part-time job. They meet once a month to discuss what the people in the parish council have problems they have identified. And another matter as it relates to creating laws. How much laws do we need to put together every month that they have to meet every month? It looks like they're creating work to justify their existence. They're not being very efficient in how they run the country. And we're spending too much money on representation, and we're not getting the basic amenities. People on roads. I've been around the country talking to different people, different constituencies, and they haven't seen road from day one, from them born. They might forgo to standpipe to pipe and get road, get water. So this is a very dysfunctional government that we have here, and we need to do so. And I think the best way to get there, to start, is through accountability, through constitutional reform, where people like Manley will talk about walking hand in hand with the people. How long are we going to continue this flawed process and continue to blame the two political parties? I started a painting, which I started this painting, right? With Siaga, Manley, and Bob Marley. How long are we going to continue this divide? Everybody, I think everybody wants the same basic things. Why do we continue having this divide over politics? I wish there was no Jamaica which I represent. And I wish there was no PNP or GLP. I wish we could just vote people in based on meritocracy. People who love Jamaica. And we won't be having these kind of conversations every couple of weeks. This is foolishness, man. And it needs to change.
Okay, we heard you. Let me, I want to, before I shift gear a little bit, because I wanted to talk, Vernon mentioned what next, what's the way forward, what's next. Now the elections are over, what's next? But before I get to that, Anthony Fisher, let me put this anomaly to you, because we saw where Venetia switched to the Labour Party, she lost. We saw where Carrie Douglas switched to the Labour Party, she lost. We saw Romario down in Mocha switched to the PNP, but he didn't lose. What, in your estimation?
Well, and there were two more
Westmoreland.
switch in Westmoreland. So
Westmoreland, yeah.
What
in Sheffield and Little London.
Explain that for me.
That's an interesting question, Ralston. And again, it goes back to this. You have persons who are dieted. All right, so let's start there. And that could speak for Papine and Trafalgar. That is just pure dieted person voting for their party and stuff. All right. When you go to Moko, you have a situation where the gentleman take person who sees his work, and from the best information that I have, he was working. He did some work. So he brings some JLP people with him along with the PNP person, and he's from the division, and to the best information that I have about him, he was somebody who does the work. Let's move over to Westmoreland, and this is the parish that I know well because that's where I am from. When you go down to Little London, the principal who switched to the PNP, he has a strong support in the community. So again, I cannot say it is, well, I cannot say it is the work that he did as in representation on the ground. I would more put it that, okay, he's a community person, and a principal is a community person. So he has that win in his back, and then, so he has some of the PNP still come with him, and he has the JLP fraction that comes with him. The same thing for the Sheffield gentleman. So I get it's who are better organized on the day to get people to vote for.
I'd love to come in with this on this one as well.
I stop right here and yield to your comment.
All right. So in terms of Eastern St. Andrew, I can directly speak to that. Papian division is my division. I've been the divisional secretary there, so I know that division. Eastern St. Andrew is my constituency of birth.
And would you say Venetia didn't do good work up there?
No, she didn't. Listen, let me tell you something.
That sounds like pure politics, right?
Let me tell you. Let me tell you. And Ralston, you come from Papian division too. So
I am going to be neutral in this one.
Okay, let us start. Let me
throw my inside here. I don't come from there, but you better all believe I taught at Papian Secondary for over 8 years. Went to UTech for 3 years, went to U for 3 years. I know it very well, and I know who voted for. I'm close to East Kingston. I know about Nannyville. They nearly shoot me down the years ago.
Anyway,
so you better believe I know it pretty well.
Anyway, as I was saying, now in terms of Eastern St. Andrew with Venetia, with Papian division, Venetia was going for a while, and a matter of fact, from Mark Golding became the leader of the PNP, Venetia started the process of her transition, you know, so it was a slow and painful transition. And in that division, as you rightfully said, there are some strongholds in there for the PNP. You have some for the JLP, but there are some strongholds for the PNP. And because that process of separation was so slow and painful, Venetia stopped being a good counselor to her people. You understand why she was in that limbo phase? Because remember, it's a little while before JLP fully take her on board. So she was in a little limbo for a long while because she had more or less defected from the PNP. She stopped paying her dues as a PNP counselor. And so she was almost functioning as an independent counselor for a while. So
correction.
Wait,
she had resigned from politics. No, I have to correct you. She had resigned from politics. I'm going to tell you again. She had resigned.
No, but let me finish my point.
Yeah, all right, from politics.
All right.
Don't hold the position.
So while she was inside, she could not have resigned because she was still the counselor.
That's what I'm saying. The passer point. She had resigned in fear, but she wasn't there.
So basically, because of where she was, the people were also in limbo. And of course, some resentment is going to start building. And then on top of that, the people who supported the JLP supporters, you have some strong JLP areas in that division as well, like Hermitage, Vietnam down in Augusttown. They never like her from day one. So for her to come over to the JLP
Correct.
For her to come over to the JLP now, I mean, they did not accept. The time for them to gain acceptance of her was too short. All right. As a matter of fact, she did better than I expected her to do, and that is simply because even the councillor-elect Darrington Ferguson, who incidentally was her campaign manager in 2016, he didn't come in early either, because originally the candidate was Peter Gay Ferguson, and Peter Gay Ferguson resigned in November. It was November that Darrington didn't come in until call it December. So he also had a very short time. You understand? So it was basically, even though they were they've been in the division, they've always been in the division, it was basically two new candidates, so to speak. You understand? No, that is for there. No, for Carrie's division, that is Trafalgar division, the writing was on the wall.
Long time.
The writing was on the wall. When I know the writing was on the wall in Trafalgar division is when I drive past Swallowfield. When you go down Old Oak Road, where you always see the green, right near Diabetes Association, and all over there, so always line out with green. The moment I see that place line out in orange, I know say it is over for Carrie, right? Because what has been happening in that division, first and foremost, a lot of the support that Carrie got was because of the MP himself, Julian Robbins. The people love Julian in there. And so because they love Julian, they will support Julian. They don't care whether it's local government or whatever. A lot of it has to do with Julian himself. So it will be very difficult, because remember now, even when PNP lose bigly, Julian's margins have steadily improved, right? And so with this young Jesse James Clark, all he had to do really was work with his MP. You understand? Work with the MP, and Carrie was barely, we know say Carrie was barely hanging on, because Carrie basically was at, even when she was within the PNP, she was at odds with Julian at some times. You understand? No, that is for that. So I'm not surprised by either of them, because I know, me personally know, so the people them in Papine division, it's set for Venetia. I can't tell you that, point blank. Them determined that Venetia would not win that seat, no matter what. As them say, even if PNP lose the election, as long as Venetia goes, they would be happy. Now, in terms of Moko with Romain, I'm very proud of Romain. Romain has shown that he's a hard and dedicated worker, and the people are with him. It is very unfortunate that Robert Nesta Morgan chose to basically do what he did in the way that he did it, because, I mean, I guess it's internal JLP politics, of which I have no stomach for. But the bottom line is, this is what I don't respect about some of these politicians. They make them personal feelings get in the way of the people's work. And if you have, I don't care if you hate the person or you love the person.
In both parties.
I didn't say which party. I did not specify a party. I just made a general statement. I said, this is what I do not like with some of these representatives. If they see, and it's what he part in PNP, because Venetia did do our own fair share too when she was a comrade. So make we talk. Anyway, so as I was saying, once they have a personality issue, once there's some personality clash, even if the person is working, like Romain was clearly working, and still Robert Nesta Morgan had an issue with him, and it clearly was a personal thing.
Could I make another correction there? It is
Go
not
ahead.
with him as such. There are many of us in politics. We have a personality challenge and we are not lovable. Michael Manley could have been easily rewarded worst politician, but he was loved. The women love him. Working is not the whole thing. You have to be loved by the people.
All right. So in
Well,
terms
let me just finish. So let me tell you something. If you are not loved, people are going to turn against you. Could have worked till judgment come. I need the posters to look into that. And your point to make about Venetia. When I said she resigned, I mean, said she give up. As a matter of fact, she had no intention to go back into politics, but obviously they would her she went back. So Mr. Morgan, for those who are in the party, I'm going to advise them, talk to Mr. Morgan and others, be nice and pleasant.
Well, for the first time ever, I'm going to correct you. Venetia was not owed to the JLP. She has been knocking on JLP's door for the last 2 years.
All right, I'll get that wrong. I'm going to yield. I'm going to yield to you.
No, in terms of Westmoreland, Little London and Sheffield.
Yeah.
You know, those two gentlemen who were I think one was originally from the GLP, then came to the PNP, then went back to the GLP. I think the principal, I'm not sure. However, a lot of what is going on in that constituency has to do with the people of Western Westmoreland being disenchanted with their political leadership over the last couple of years. Well, right now, in order to get them back to, and I guess as with Romaine, I guess as you said, Anthony, one of them is a school principal, and we all know that school principals tend to do very well in politics because people tend to have a lot of respect for them.
From ever since.
So in terms of those two divisions, though, they were, and I'm going to say this, but I'm telling you from the bottom of my heart, even though it was PNP for basically PNP country, we have underserved those people, and we are suffering the consequences of the disservice that was done to the people of Western Westmoreland for how long?
Kamala, you're not a politician.
Westmoreland. Say Westmoreland.
Sorry for you, Kamala. You're not a politician.
No, I'm a politician, you know, but guess what?
Say Westmoreland. Not only Western. Westmoreland in general.
I tend to speak the truth.
Watch your back. Watch your back. Watch your back.
I tend to speak the truth.
Watch your back.
I know that because I speak to people in Westmoreland. I have a lot of friends in Western Westmoreland, in Negril, and they have been disenchanted for a long time. So to get those people now to come around again will take some time and some work. So the fact is that they've obviously developed respect and good feeling for the gentlemen. So they went. But, you know, it's work in progress. What I do hope is that the candidate there will put in some serious work and basically do what he has to do. You understand? But yeah, so that is my feedback. But I can, as I say, I just wanted to jump in here because I could speak directly to Trafalgar and Papine Division.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm gonna go back. You know, we talked about this already, you know, but I just want an answer for it. Any one of you can answer. Is the low voter turnout an indication that people are really turned off, even though the campaigning did seem to have a national one?
Can I go first again? Because I'm soon gone.
Yeah.
No.
Are you just a come?
Yes, I'm soon gone. But the low voter turnout, I'm not surprised, right? I know that the pollster, Don Anderson, had predicted a higher turnout, and I was hoping that there would have been a higher turnout. However, the reason why I'm not surprised is, as I say again, people don't understand. First and foremost, a lot of people who I spoke to when I was campaigning told me that if it's not an election to vote out Andrew Holness, them not interested. So don't come to them not vote. I would be on the road just talking to people. Are you going to vote? No, after this is not Andrew Holness election. And I was like, but it's still important. No, when it's the big election, I will vote. So the thing about it is a lot of people didn't take this election seriously. Even my own son, I had to be like, listen, you have to vote. I had to be into his skin to get him to vote, because traditionally, a lot of the local government election, normally there is a lower voter turnout. The thing about it is the PNP initially hyped this election as a referendum against the government. And so because of that now, even Andrew Holness and the GLP were very surprised at how much PNP put into this election, because the Andrew Holness at one point accused the PNP of literally that, putting too much into this election. You understand? So as far as I'm concerned, the PNP made it about a referendum on the government, right? Whereas Andrew Holness didn't want it to be so, he didn't want to put so much emphasis on it, because I figured that he knew that he wouldn't do as well. I figure so. In the recesses of my mind, I could see from throat that he never feels so comfortable or can. I mean, his back was against the wall to call this election, literally. He called it at the 11th hour. Because
we need fixed election date. We need to have that.
Yes. However, he did not want to call this election. And if he never called it, Mark Golding had promised him that he would
Take him to court.
Oh, we lost camera. The loser.
I wonder which part of this the technology supports.
That he was genuinely uncomfortable with calling this election. And so he wanted to downplay the significance of it. So as a result, I think that because this, for him, because of his push to downplay the significance of it, a lot of his own supporters did not come out and vote. You understand? A lot of his own supporters. So basically, in trying to downplay the significance of the election, he shot himself in his foot, literally. You follow what I'm saying? So yeah, that's my 2 cents on it.
Mario, Dr. Wood?
Yeah. I just want to Marcus, I've heard him say that councillors only meet for a month. When that year mark, they have a lot more responsibility. Let me go research conduct itself in 2021 and local government. Right? My bias is I'm deeply committed to a governance structure that allows local people to take part in government, which means a local government. I've also have a bias that we should move that to what is called county council government. You've heard research about it before. The two major problems that were identified in 2021 was financial capacity and human resources capacity. And that is why I wonder when the Prime Minister is going to be giving how much $1 million for his park program to the MPs. And when I believe that the mechanism for delivery is local government, not central, because central government many times is not in tune with what the people want. My good friend that have a shirt, I don't remember your name. You might just remind me. The pump from up at the hill there. Right? People sitting down in their ministries have no idea what these people want. They have absolutely no idea, but they want to dictate these people down there. This is what you want and to give it to you. Maybe Cascade might roads. Another local community, they might need some sort of urban job in building. That's what they might need. They might have roads, they might have water, they might have street lights, they might have everything. But no, somebody in Kingston continues to say, we are going to give the money to the MPs, to central government, that they can parcel it out. What is needed? What is needed forward? There were pieces of legislation that was created in 20. The local should have allowed a certain degree of autonomy. Now that local is recognized underneath the Constitution of Jamaica. That bill needs to be implemented. The second one was the Financial Management Act, a Local Government Financial Management Act, which would allow local to a lot of the spending that they do. That bill needs to be implemented too. There was also another one, the 2015 Human Resources. I don't want to spell entire act for you. But basically what it was said is that local government will be responsible for their human resources and would cut down a lot of the transfers of people from one local authority to the other local authority because of particular like them, so they get transferred out, despite the good jobs that they were doing. I want to call the names of some of these people. And incidentally, the study done equally between practitioners in the political side of local government and people people who are actually in local government. And that's what came up, that they need to ensure that because they are the main delivery mechanism. If garbage is not picked up, they don't cost the MP. If street lights are not fixed, they don't cost the MP. It is the local representative receives the brunt of everything. But however, if they don't have capacity to deliver, then that is 30% of the people in Jamaica will turn out to vote because importance of local governance. I didn't say government, no, local governance. Because they realize if they don't want a farm work yard, guess who they must go to? The MP.
Mm-hmm.
If they want something to be done, who they going to go to? The MP.
Can I add a point to what he needs to make? Can I add a little point to what he is making? For you to give authority to parish councils, you have to ensure that the revenue generated in that area is at least at the level. Let me just, you cannot take revenue generated in Kingston and other areas and say, give it to Charles. So that is something that you have to take into consideration. Just like in the States, you have at the federal level and you have at the other level. There are certain things like local roads and so on. If your community is not generating that revenue, unless the road is a main road, you have to be very careful. And that's why you have parochial road and you have
as my good friend has pointed out, right? We keep on saying that Jamaica is small. However, we have 38,000 kilometers of roads. That's not small. That's a lot. But what we tend to do is that first of all, we don't have maintenance. I went to a beach today in Montego Bay, and I don't want nobody get into problems. And the gentleman was explaining to me the reasons behind some of the things not working. For example, the sprinkler system. The guys, I was shocked. You know why? Because whatever is earned in the local area is sent to Kingston, and then Kingston determines what is resent to the local. The budget prepared by a local authority or a municipality in the case of say Portmore. It has by Kingston, who's to send back to that local authority. Fees, for example, say planning and zoning fees, they have to get permit from central. Then the authority are not to make their own funding sources. I mean, and then people going to say, well, we don't this. See what happened. We decide that we centralize everything instead of decentralization. Well, what we are saying, just to get to your point of say, where we are at the fact that structure now would not get the kind of money to satisfy all their needs. However, with the county governance system, for example, the tourism in St. James and parts of Hanover and Westmoreland would assist, and Trelawney, that site in Dex would assist with areas that don't have any box. Remember the room tax or airport fees in Western Jamaica. None of the bauxite levy remains in Middlesex, but the central government. And some central government is one that this.
Okay, Mr. Wood, you have been breaking up a lot, you know. So
Yeah.
We are basically almost out of time. So what I wanted to do, I want to ask a question, you know, before we go over to the topic of Meadows, Mr. Meadows and Mr. Warmington, you know. Let me ask each of you, what should each of those candidates or mayors who won should be focusing on going forward?
How does that? How does that tie into those two gentlemen? I'm not sure.
I put it to Mr. Darby. I
Yes.
want you to answer me anyway.
What they should focus on are local matters and stop being water carriers for the MP. 1, water. 2, street lights. 3, local health matters. 4, drainage. And 5, and there are others too, I'd love to see them be responsible for their own local security and also for approval of entertainment things and for building legislation and so on. They have been proved to be incompetent in terms of dealing with that. And we have been having buildings going up right across the country, beaches not being treated properly and so on. And they have showed that they are incompetent in terms of dealing with that. That's what they need to concentrate on. And of course, the funding from those things ought to go, a significant part of it should go to fund their work.
Thank you very much.
They don't have the capacity.
You know,
They're not giving that, they only give that role and function on paper.
But basically, I'm saying they should be given the money and everything. We are saying the same thing.
All right.
I'm for just like you mentioned before, a decentralized government, Mario. I firmly believe that the local people should handle their own affairs, okay? Now, having said that, in our constitution for the Up Jamaica, we want the MP to be the parish manager. We believe that the president or the prime minister, which one we have or we exchange or whatever, should have their cabinet taken from society. Not necessarily, they should not be MPs, which gives the MP a sort of a parish manager title, where the MP focuses on the parish matters and would lays down with one parish council, not 2 and 4 like them have now, because Jamaica is a very small country. And our Manchester, for instance, you can drive around Manchester in a couple of hours. So what I'm saying to you is that we have too much representation. We need more money going towards the local government. We should also have some conversation with the Jamaican people about how they want their money to be spent. I believe there should be town hall meetings. I don't believe an MP should go into a constituency and say, boy, I want to do this because he want to do it. He or she has their own motives and agendas. They need to engage the people in town hall meetings about how much money come in and how we should spend based on the needs of the collective. Okay? That is not being done now. We're not having
correction. That is false again. That is being done. What you're asking is for it to be done across the island. It is being done. As a matter of fact, the Prime Minister called and in Parliament mandated, and the PMP people said that they need more time. And I agree with them too. But that to say it's not being done, that's not true. To have the consultation. So it is being done, but what is required?
With the people?
Yes, it is being done. It is not done in the way it ought to be done right across the island.
One second, sir. How is that consultation being held? How is it being done?
It's been done at community centers, been done in schoolrooms and so on. Some MPs are doing it. So those it's not being done. It's being done, but not by all. I'm in Manchester, okay? And I haven't seen anything done on that level. No, in Manchester, I can tell you.
In a real
yes, in Manchester, you have an MP from Chiturn. I know what's going on in Manchester too. So you have a problem. We talk to people like Mr. Chuck and other even PMP constituencies and so on, and you hear there are consultations. There are. Talk to Everald.
So I think though what Mark is asking for. What Mark?
Hold on. Let me finish that point. There has to be some
anyway,
way.
Guys, I have to go here.
An effective means of engaging the community in matters that are important to the community. And that is not being done in a way that is effective. I have not seen an effective way of them to engage the people on how money is to be spent on their behalf.
And I can answer another thing too. People, even when they go to Citizens Association meeting, persons do not turn up at meetings. That's another problem. You have to look at both sides of it. We can't just make categorical statement and say they do how they do. But I will tell you, we need to have more of it. But also, the people really don't care. They don't attend the meetings.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you, Anthony and Kamala.
So the same way that you can go out and get votes and beg people for vote for you and to go canvass. Is the same way you can go out there and call people and say, hey,
you can't. Them are getting money. Is a carnival for them. You remember Michael said 120,000 strong cannot be wrong. It's proven time and time. That's why the JLP got massive crowd and they never show up. What do you? I know the politics. Every politician come on my yard at Chilani from about 5, 6. I know all the national heroes. When me attack, because I'm up on radio. I know Buster. I know Nama. I know Santiago personally. Michael, I used to impersonate him and know the politics very well. Should I night? Why you get me at the party, Kamala? And who is the JP? Why don't get me at the party?
Okay, Kamala and Anthony, you're and what you think the candidates and the mayor.
Peter Phillips are doing funny, my boy.
What was the question? What was the question?
Yeah, what do you think the MP, not the MP candidates, the councillor
candidates,
mayors should be focusing on?
Yeah.
Well, first and foremost, cleaning up the place, garbage collection, right? No, not just garbage collection, but also bushing, right? Because that has been neglected, clearing the drains. No, a lot has happened with the construction of roads and all of these building constructions where the water has the water is being channeled in a different way, right?
Absolutely,
we have a lot of concrete now. We have a lot of concrete now. So because the ground is not soil anymore in a lot of the cases, the water is not soaking into the earth. So we're getting a lot of flooding channels. So we are going to have to improve on creation of drainage, right? That is parish council. But in terms of the parochial roads, I would love to see a drive by mayors to get these communities that have not turned over their roads. They need to turn them over to the parish council. You have a lot of communities all over Jamaica, private communities.
Yes.
Where roads.
Kamala, you know your stuff, Kamala. You know your stuff.
I'm a politician, of course I know.
No, politicians don't know their stuff. You know the stuff. You're good. Me not know you, but me I tell you.
A lot of the roads are still under the control of these communities that build
and them. The sewage system also.
And the sewage system.
Hey, you know your stuff.
So they need to. I would like to see where the mayors and the councillors go on a drive to regularize these roads so that they can bring them under the parish council so they have the I'm a physiotherapist by profession, and there are some days of the week that I have to go to my patients, and when I have to go, for instance, I have a patient in Hampton Green and they fix some of the main roads, but when you ask them why them don't fix the roads, you hear, and Sydenham and all of these places.
Oh, Sydenham! Oh, no, don't bother mention that one.
You hear them talking about the roads have not been turned over to the parish council. Like,
yes,
come on, these communities have been built for years and years and years. So why is it that they are not turned over? Who is holding that up?
And Kamala, we have to tell you, we have no matters. We have to add to you also know about the burial, what you call it, the funeral home being put up out there too. You know your stuff, girl. I get over 5,000 complaints every year, so I know I'm going out the road.
Yeah.
All right. Well, absolutely. Kamala, you know something? The road in my development, right?
Right.
We have not had to fix any potholes. You know why? When we built the roads, we hired professionals. So they are responsible for any flaw in our road. In the government, I would never turn over my road to the government.
Well, that is your community, but a lot of these communities that are out there, their roads were not built by professionals and the roads are atrocious.
Well, there are 25 homes, and I mean, they're larger homes, and it's quite spread out on my road, okay? And we built that road ourselves. We haven't had any potholes because we fixed our roads properly, because we have professionals who understand drainage, who understand compaction, who understand what the
Yeah,
substrate
but
should
the
be.
horse done, the horse done bowl through the gate
I
long
think-
time. In
And we
this
talk about a
community.
national problem, not one on one
Yes,
place.
it's not just
No,
one
national
community.
problem.
Most of these. So maybe you,
No.
Mark, maybe that's for in the future, you can probably look at that with these people.
No,
these
no, what I'm
community
saying,
developers, but the bottom line is the ones that exist already, there is a
No,
problem.
okay. I'm going to talk about the national issue. We are giving people work on the national roads that are not
Without
qualified.
accountability. Is it
They're
about
not- they're not
accountability when they fix it?
Up Jamaica says that anybody that does any work for Up Jamaica government must be banded. So if your road fail, you have to pay for that out of your money. Or you do
That's a
not
very
get
good
it.
idea, actually. That's a
Don't
very
get
good idea.
don't get any more work.
I
Like
have
a-
to drive. I have to drive, for instance. I know
Oh.
this is not a local government road, but I drive on Mandela Highway daily. And I can tell you, say, so them fix it, you can know that they're doing shoddy job. Because so them patch it out, so the same road, all them open up back. You understand?
I
mean, they
interject too
just
much,
patched out.
Kamala.
They just patched it out.
I know a man who's a barber. The man is a barber. I'm saying, and kind of word barber green, but I'm saying, the man is a barber. I'm saying, the man.
Careful of the word green. Careful
Get
of
a-
green.
him
It's a
get a-
barber.
him
Don't
get
add the
a
green.
work. Him get a work. Him get a little work for mash. Just like how they
So
do
that's the kind of,
work to
you
bush.
said this is kind of foolishness. You say, and I'd rather them just spend the money. I
And
went
do
to
it
St. Lucia
properly.
last month. And I spoke to one of the independent candidates there, right? And we had a walk around this community. And you know something? When you look on the barber green, they have 3 to 4 inches thick. And it no need for fix because they spend the
Make
money and do
I
it
get
right.
a button here, I get bigger, make a button here. You don't left the politician alone. When me a ball out that me schoolmate, me tell you I know these people personally, I'm in love to show off, right? Mr. Hunter, my schoolmate went to cast, right? The joker there who come and chat sweet and chat so sweet you don't need sugar. Why are we not calling for these people to remove? There's a pothole at Waterloo Road for months. That's what we do. The people need to get up and stand up. When I put up my blog and say that pothole is fixed, how many I want to support it? Come on.
I don't even see it.
That is why.
Why you don't see it? Your party leader get my blog. Why don't get it? It's a leading blog in the country. You need a
All right, guys, hold on
That
just
is
a
why
second.
we have a
Hold
recall
on just a
option in
second.
our constitution. Anybody
I
who's
mean-
not an MP, you gotta go. You have
All
to
right.
go.
Mr. Chair, I'm big terrible
One
here.
second, one
Why have to
second.
kick me off?
We've gone,
Tell you,
hold
we have
on.
a jump over here with that one, eh?
We've gone over time.
That
We've
was
gone
done over time.
way over time, and I want us to talk about the Meadows and Warmington.
And those are my two friends and one is my past student.
So we saw both men making really unacceptable comments on the platform, and the leader of the opposition has removed Dennis Meadows and the Prime Minister has removed Warmington.
Correction again, sir. Mr. Warmington
From
resigned.
the cabinet. Resigned.
Yes.
Resigned. So they say.
No, that's how they say. He resigned. I saw the letter.
Yeah.
They probably put something to him head for him to write that.
But-
No, all right. I don't get angry with
So
you.
here's the question though. Is it, we know that this has been a pattern for Mr. Warmington. He just says what's on his mind. Is this just political expediency on the part of the Prime Minister?
Of course.
Could I jump in?
One
Could I
second.
jump in here? I
Well,
want to jump in.
I throw it to you first, Vernon.
All right, let me tell you what.
And my second part of the question is, was this an easy take for the leader of the opposition, because he's not losing anything from removing Dennis Meadows?
I'm not going to go there. Let me make it
You
very
walk
clear.
on to catch a rope.
I want you to go.
Let me go there. Let me tell you. Let me tell you. Mr. Dennis Meadows is my past student.
Mhm.
From early in the day, when I discovered that he was my past student, and he didn't want to mention that he went to Papine, and when I contacted him about it, I interviewed him on air, and he said he went to Ardennes. And I was told, Mr. Darby, you taught it for about 3 years. And I contacted him and I realized he was trying to, when I'm going to add it, I said, this man does not deserve to be in politics. I put a blog out there from that time. It's about probably 3-4 years ago. Then I know what went on at FLA. I know details I can't say to this program. I know money. And Kamala, Mr. Fisher, are not going to pay for me. I said, this man ought not to be in politics. I wrote my blog, I put it out there. I was shocked when the PNP took him up. All right? Now, I am happy that they kick him out. And let me tell you, I'm close to him. That says my past student and but our family are close to them. Now, for Mr. Warmington, is my schoolmate. When he ran at UTech, I was literally his campaign manager. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I have to be careful of how I say it. Now, we have to understand that we are all human beings. Mr. Meadows and also Mr. Thing there. All right, we can tell us what he did to me as his friend. I was at King's House in charge of a function. And he raised his voice at me. It was quite rude. And of course, you know me, I'm mad. I just light him up right there in front of everybody. And a few weeks, and he was so frightened because he thinks that him what a big mouth. So he walked off. Because if he took me on, I couldn't care to place. I would tell him that you're an idiot. A few weeks after that, I was crossing Waterloo Road and he stopped and allowed me to pass. And then I didn't know it was him. And he put his head through the window and he said, how do I do it now? Vernon, referring to a part of the female anatomy, come out of the road. All right? So I am telling you, both gentlemen, I question them in terms of their mental state. I'll be very careful, I don't get myself to trouble. And many of our leaders, I know one political leader had problems early in the day. News media people didn't pick it up. They kept on harassing the person. Many persons have challenges. And I will tell you, the political parties, both of them have to take a deep look. I do think every now and again our Prime Minister also should have a general health checkup in terms of seeing a psychiatrist, because people do have mental challenges. I hope Mr. Chair, I didn't accuse anybody, all right? I hope I did not. So there's that part that we have not looked at. That after a while you're stressed out, you have mental challenges. So if Vernon Darby today come on and he's smiling up with all of you, we sometimes I do, and I will light up and get upset. Probably I have a bipolar challenge. I have to look at that. Think about that. Something to think about.
Can I just...
Mr. Fisher, experience for the Prime Minister easy for
I know you go back to your question.
It would have been very easy for Mr. Gould. First and foremost, there was a lot of persons in that constituency who did not want Mr. Meadows to be their representative. So when this opportunity comes up, I'm sure they would be loud and calling for him to go. From a principle and moral point of view, Mr. Meadows dig his own grave, because what he said was just stupid. And let's call a spade a spade. It was just stupid. You cannot make comments like those, especially in a part of Jamaica where many persons lose their lives because of scamming. Many youngsters lose their life over scamming. They take the money, then buy gun, them do this, them kill off them mother and all of that. So for you to endorse in an activity like that, and you are trying to become a legislator, you shoot yourself. Call a spade a spade. As far as Mr. Warmington is concerned, yes, I would say it's experience for the Prime Minister. I'm sure the Prime Minister found himself in a very tight corner, because Mr. Warmington is one of his loyalists. And maybe if it was a 31-32 parliament, Mr. Warmington would have still been in the cabinet today. He would not resign. But because the Prime Minister has some leeway now, he could say, all right, Wami, this is one too much, you got to go, and stuff, and all that. And I would like to be a fly on the wall when those conversations was happening, because I know it cannot be an easy task. It could never be an easy decision. But
yeah, I would be the fly right beside you on that one.
I sent him a strong message immediately.
but it's what it is. And you know what the sad thing about this? When I used to work at the Jamaica Information Service, I had to be on tours with Warmington and stuff and all of that. And listen, man, the guy is nice.
Oh yes, a very nice person.
The guy is
very
nice.
Yes, very nice.
You know what I'm saying? So
very nice.
Oh, by the way,
when I see these
By the
big,
way, you mentioned
I mean, trust.
One second, Mark. Let him finish the point.
When I saw these type of behavior and all of them things, I have to agree with Vernon. Mentality is here, man. So something go wrong. Something go wrong. But I think right now is the best thing that happened, and it's about holding people accountable. And this is what I want to see across the board.
I agree with you there. And
Could I jump in, Kamala? Kamala, I beg your favor. I'm going to touch on. We're going to detail. Kamala, one of your leaders, also had a challenge. You know that. One, they were in politics. I knew, and media didn't know that. I hope you know who we're talking about. And that person had to slide away quietly. That person is still having challenges. That's why we have to be understanding, because we're all human beings. You know who I'm talking about? I won't say
no, but it doesn't matter. All right. Okay.
Yes,
so
it
what
does.
I was saying.
You can always call me and I will tell you.
Okay,
Right?
in terms of
let Kamala, and then I'm gonna give Mark the last word.
all right. So in terms of the I lost my train of thought. All right. So in terms of, yes, it's you. All right. So as Anthony was saying that, oh, I know what I was going to say now. I think that that is the day that Jamaica really won. I don't think we won anything out of the local government election in terms of Jamaica winning. But the day that Jamaica really won was the day that Mark Golding decided to cut ties with Dennis Meadows immediately, as well. Basically, in my opinion, forced Andrew Holness's hand. Because I will say this, had Mark Golding not done that, I think Warmington would still be in his job. And that is my genuine belief, right?
More needs to go.
No, remember now, you know. No, let me, before I even go into Warmington, let me just say that unequivocally, what Dennis Meadows said made no sense. And he has since admitted.
Pretty girl, man. Pretty girl, that's the problem.
He has since admitted publicly that he was a little bit imbibed under the influence.
Pretty girl, but you don't know the term in drink a pretty girl.
That be that as it may, it still doesn't excuse his behavior. You understand? Alcohol tends to loosen the tongue and make one be a little truthful. You understand? That probably is what he was thinking all along, and the alcohol helped it to come out. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. No, contrary to what Anthony said, in terms of a lot of people want him to go, there are also a lot of people who want him in that constituency. Actually, I will be the first to tell you, say, is the comrade them go over JLP, go take him up and carry him over PNP. Here, take it from me. But at the end of the day, we have to be accountable for our actions.
Yes,
and as such, he has to suffer the consequences. Very unfortunate, but he himself has also accepted the fact. Now, what he has said, and what I am very happy for, is that he is willing to stay on the ground in North Trelawney and assist the PNP with whoever they select, because North Trelawney comrades is not an easy set of comrades.
No.
They remember said them burn Porsche shirt already, right?
Yeah, but yes.
They are not just readily accepting of whichever candidate you send them.
But the PNP still
the fact that Mr. Meadows is willing to stay there and help says a lot about him. He's not bitter, and he has said that. So I am hoping that, no, first and foremost, commendations to my party leader, because he was able to solve this problem without causing any rancor on the ground. Because I was personally worried about that. I was really, really worried about that, because I know how these people are.
Well, I saw something in the Observer today, though, saying either bring back Mr. Meadows or somebody from the community, no outsiders.
Lina, you preempt me and my question.
Yes. Let me tell you something. These people, these comrades are very, very militant. So anybody who comes in, Dennis Meadows will personally have to hold that hand and hold that person's hand and walk that person through, because I'm telling you, Dennis Meadows has the respect of both the comrades and the laborites in that constituency. No, in terms of Mr. Warmington, I don't know. You pick him up, you lick him down, and bounce
right back. Yeah.
Man. Listen, let me tell you something. this is not the man's first or second or third or fourth or fifth indiscretion. And the mere fact, listen, when all of this happening, I saw this letter and that Mark Golding let Dennis Meadows go, I snickered. I say, y'all really expect Andrew to let go Warmington? Don't bother holding the bread for that. I shock. I will admit that it was a brilliant chess move by Mark Golding, because he basically used a pawn, and I'm not using it in any derogatory way, but in just a chess reference, I play chess. So he used a pawn to get a rook, because at the end of the day, a rook, if you know chess, you know that a rook is a very important piece on the board. And Andrew Holt, that Warmington is a very important person to Andrew Holness, and he has often been referred to as Andrew Holness #1 bulldog, right?
Yeah, call him bulldog.
Well,
No man, him call himself that. Matter of fact, him call himself that. Him call himself.
You know something?
All right.
You know something?
Mark,
I think
go ahead, Mark. Your take on it.
One of the key factors that you're ignoring, everybody's ignoring, is when a person comes into a job or a political party, they tend to observe the lay of the land, and they kind of have an idea of what's acceptable in their party and in their space.
Mm-hmm.
If that was, he would not have said the things, they have not said the things that they've said.
Wrong.
The only reason
Wrong.
why is caught is because they got caught on camera. If they were on camera, this would be, you know, swept under the rug. So,
but we live in a society now where we have to assume that everything is being caught on camera. Everything is being caught on camera. So if you're gonna say it, that means you really don't care. Because we're in a society now where everybody's on camera.
But let me put it again. He would have said the man, I don't,
Hold on, 1 second, 1 second, one at a time.
Let me tell you, so Warmington, I tell you, I know him personally, there is a problem. I don't want to go into details. Whether that he would have do it same way, not change, and if he come out and do it same way, there's a problem. No, don't want me come out of the group and tell I know the man personally.
Warmington would have done it same way.
Same way. He has a problem.
That's the point I'm making. The point I'm making is they have to assume, well, we know Dennis was drunk. But Warmington,
Camilla.
Mark, we're not hearing you clearly. You tend to be, you're distorted. You're very distorted. I'm not hearing you.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now? Oh.
Yeah, we're hearing you, Mark.
Okay.
Finish up your point.
What I'm saying to you is that Warmington and the other Meadows gentlemen, you're not an aberration. You're not. I hear this kind of chatter all the time on social media and people's phones and all that kind of stuff. So it's just that they got caught. You got caught by the right people, and it was sent to the right places, and enough people saw what happened. So it's not, and I'm not saying to you that that in all cases their behavior is accepted by leadership. I'm not going to say that, but there is an unholy alliance with persons who can galvanize voters for power, and they will put a blind eye to their behavior for political equity, and that's what happens in a lot of cases.
But it again, and Mark, me tell you something with the man personally for 40 odd years. But I tell you something else. Learn this: mad people, whether it be, no, I get in that trouble. They tend to be popular. That's why Kevin Smith and others became a star. Let me listen to one of them. That's why Trump is a star. There's a thing about charisma and talented people. It goes with the territory. It helps politicians.
So come down and work for me.
Well, me tell him a problem, nobody argue with me, I know him, and my friend, 40 years, I know him. Whether I saw him tell me, tell me a King's house, and you going to tell me, say, but this man, he not change.
All right. Gentlemen and ladies, we are getting the wrap-up signal. We have gone way over our time. But I
It was still like Mr. Ransom Chamberlain, who's very patient.
Before I throw it to Colin to wrap up, I'm going to play the devil's advocate.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask Anthony and Vernon this question because Anthony made reference of the article in the Gleaner today where the people of Northern Trelawney is saying we want Meadows. Can he come back and be a political representative for the People's National Party? Let us say the PNP wait a couple of months.
I mean, I shall return.
He's redeemed and he's
I shall return.
Can that be done?
You know what? You know what, Austin? I'm going to tell you this. The persons up by what's that? Old Hope Road or Hope Road? Which one of them?
Old Hope Road.
Yes. Those persons, I'm sure, would have had that piece of clip. And when you look, a lot of these persons who are scammed are from here in the US, and they would have interest. And I am sure because of that one fact, I don't think the PNP is going to take that risk.
The GLP will do. The GLP will do.
I don't know if the GLP will leave either. So because of that, I think at this point in time, my view is that, and as I said it before, that Dennis had driven a nail in his political future. That's right. I really don't see him coming back.
I think he can come back. I personally believe that he can come back. The thing about it is he said something that was really ridiculous. We live in a society now where we like to end people's careers because of silly mistakes that they make.
Hold on, Kamala, I'm gonna disagree with you on that. I don't think it's anybody ending his career.
He did it himself.
He did it himself.
Yes, yeah. And I would never take that from him.
Hold on. I'm going to agree with Anthony. I do not think that the PNP, given the statement made by Mr. Golden, would ever think of bringing him back on a ticket. Not in election, maybe in another election.
What if Dennis had resigned instead of Mr. Golden giving the march now?
It would have been the same thing. Even if he had resigned, it would have been the same thing. I don't think they could bring him back.
Right.
The statement is so egregious, and given the impact of a lot of scamming on crime in Jamaica, there's no way he can come back to the forefront. He can stay in the background and do his thing, but I don't think
if the people want him, he shall return.
I the word out.
Anthony, and I believe
thank you, Vernon, because what you don't understand with politics, and I've been in politics long enough to know this. Politics is local, and if George Wright going to run again, remember,
you want to take that out of my mouth? Why you take that?
No, but it's the truth. If I guarantee you that the GLP will bring back George Wright to Central West.
Hold on.
Anything we want to say. Wait, let me finish.
We cannot. I don't think, in fairness, we can compare the George Wright issue with.
Really? Why not?
Let me tell you why. Hold on. Let me tell you why. And I'll tell you why. To this date, we have no evidence as to whether that was George Wright. He has not said it was him. The woman has not said it was him. And you and I and others can speculate and say, oh, it was him. But we have no evidence.
The chairman is right. The chairman is right.
But politics is over. Greater Sankey Singh than that already.
I think the two is not comparable. So
chairman is right.
But in all fairness, as I said, politics is local, right? And we might, number one, and wait, let me finish my point.
I do not think, though,
because I wanted to finish this point before you had said anything.
But say,
I said it. Wait, let me finish my point. Come ahead, go and come sometime.
You're Warmington.
What I'm saying is this. We can stay where we are and
Yes.
say anything we want to say. But the people, first of all, we make a serious assumption and listen to me carefully. We make a serious assumption that everybody is governed by the same moral compass that we
They're
are.
not. They're not.
Right? And we stay here with our highfalutin self, might think that he is wrong and this and that, but you have people on the ground who are saying that he cannot be wrong. You know that we are fact, right? And you cannot deny that even if you disagree, because we are all not governed by the same moral.
Kamala, let me just say one thing here. You see what Dennis Meadows said?
Yes.
He's not the only person that has that view, you know.
I know, but he said it.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And Colin can testify to this. I called Colin when I heard it and I said, listen, because we're from Western Jamaica, we know the thing. But what I'm trying to say, you know what my grandmother said? Sometimes you have to keep by your mouth.
By the way, let me tell you one who went to the party of the cross dresser. Don't let me tell you one who were there and all these things. Oh no, don't tell me rubbish.
All right, listen.
And where the money come from for the party. All right. I only tell you so I know my information. I get them, so careful.
We've gone way over time. And
we don't go overboard. We're just setting libelous. I hope not. And before I go, let me just say too, those who are offended by my comments, don't be a Warmington, don't be a Dennis Meadows. I just say what I have to say. I'm sure that Carmel and others will disagree with me strongly about the point, and also Anthony Fisher. I mean no harm. I just call a spade a spade. I love you all.
I'm going to throw it over to Colin to end the show.
Okay. It was really nice meeting you. Colin, you need to hook me up with Kamala so we can chat too. And thing. Even though we're on the opposite.
That's what we're going to do. We're going to bring back just the two, let the two punch it out.
See a big body politician that left me out. He's all right. Okay.
And we leave out Vernon.
Oh, Kamala, send me a WhatsApp now. I need to talk to you about the blog. I tried to put a message. I tried to put a message, but you're not allowing me. I don't know why to send a message on the chat.
Okay, Anthony, I think you didn't mean Ligani, you know, when you were talking about whole project.
What person I was talking about?
You know, so I think that's what you mean. But you have been watching and listening to the Irie Myrie and Friends show. We thank you for joining us, and we thank our panelists. We know you have a choice in what you listen, and we thank you for choosing this show. Until you hear my voice on Ralston again, this is Colin Myrie saying goodbye for now. Thank you all.
Kamala, WhatsApp is on the thing. Look at the WhatsApp, Kamala. Check it.
Have a good evening.
Yeah. Well. Check the WhatsApp, Kamala. WhatsApp me now.